There we go. Hello, good morning. This is Sean. Today I'm going to be talking about music theory and Aquawizard. This is a little segment we're going to call Coffee and Cigarettes. And we're not going to, I'm already out of coffee and I don't smoke cigarettes, but it's going to be a time where we go through some music theory because we're a music band and music theory is something that I like to do. So let's dive in. Here's OBS. We're not going to be talking about OBS today. Here's MuseScore. We are going to be talking about music. So this is a program that I use to goof around with music and do stuff. And I meant to get rid of the mixer. So let me just do... How does this work? You get rid of this? There we go. So the thing I wanted to focus on today was this interesting section in the song we have tentatively titled, Is This BTS or Another Band? And this is the 2023 revision, so I haven't really goofed around with the form in this transcription, but what I have goofed around with is what these notes are and how I wrote it and all that. So, yes, so let me... I did lie. Okay, I lied a little bit. There's a little bit of coffee, but not enough for me to really be like, oh, the whole time I'm drinking coffee. That was my last bit. I'll have to go make some more. Maybe there'll be a part 2 and there'll be even more coffee. Maybe someday I'll start smoking cigarettes and we'll coffee and cigarettes with Aquawizard music theory will be a little bit more accurate. So maybe this is a good sign for like how educational this will be. Not very educational probably, but I don't know, at least maybe it'll be kind of interesting. So to focus in, there was a question among the band at a recent meeting and at recent band practices of like, what is going on with this like third riff in Is This BTS or Another Band? And there's like a couple things going on here. So number one is this section, even though it might sound like it's changing time signatures and, you know, the beat's weird and stuff's going on, really, it's actually just in 4/4 time. And then you might be thinking, well, the rhythm is super complicated, or maybe it's not super complicated, but there's something going on that makes you think that it's like in 3/4 time, or, you know, you're not really sure what's going on. And maybe the way Mark was hearing the riff, you know, he wanted to put an emphasis on certain beats, whereas the notes that Andrew is playing on the bass versus the thing I made up for Brad to play, all of it's supposed to come together. It's supposed to kind of sound a little chaotic, but also sort of familiar at the same time. That was kind of the reason why I was like, let me try this interesting combination of notes and rhythms. So yeah, just to sum up that first bullet point, it is in 4/4, but rhythmically there's something that's kind of interesting going on. I think the second thing I wanted to mention about it is that there is a consistent rhythm every 2 measures. And what I mean by this is actually a chord change rhythm that's consistent that would be every 8 beats or every 2 measures. And it's basically the chords change in this pattern, 3, 2, 3. And that's consistent every 2 measures. So that's 3 chords in the space of what would normally be maybe like 2 chords. Like a lot of songs will have 1 measure of a chord and then the next measure will be a chord. But in this song, it's like 3 chords per 2 measures. So you're starting to see a relationship of like 3-ness on top of like 2-ness or vice versa. So yeah, there's that aspect of it. And so that is one level of disorientation, I guess you could say, is there's 3 chords every 2 measures. So that's a little weird. The other thing, maybe the third thing going on here is that every 2 measures, we land on a different chord. And maybe you can hear this. I gotta turn it up a little bit. So every 2 measures, we actually end up on a different chord. So after 1, 2, 3, 4 different measures landing on 4 different notes, we finally land back on F. So the riff starts on the note F. F. And then 8 measures later, we're back on the note F. So that's pretty cool because 8 measures, a lot of songs, every phrase is like 8 measures long. And in fact, that's what happens with the guitar melody. After 8 measures, it goes back to... Oh, that's a little louder than the bass, isn't it? We go back to that melody after 8 measures. So, it's like, rad, dude. You wrote this riff, Sean, that fits nicely in 8 measures, but it's still confusing. And it's because the chords change at that rhythm. And every 2 measures inside of that 8 measure cacophony, the beginning of the measure starts on a different chord. So that's confusing. So I think the thing that I think that kind of explains all this, so like bullet point 1, it's in 4/4. Bullet point 2, I forget. There are 3 chords per 2 measures. And then bullet point 3, every 2 measures starts on a different chord, but after 8 measures, it all comes back together. So given those 3 elements, let me explain the next thing. So what I've really done here is I have in music theory, and this is actually ancient music theory, in terms of like how long humans have been thinking about stuff like this. One way to think about music is to really separate melody from rhythm and think of them as 2 different things, even though in reality they're kind of the same. Like a musical note, whether it's a snare drum or a cello or whatever, there's an element of rhythm, like time, and then there's an element of melody or pitch or whatever. So this is like an ancient, like lots of people have thought about this. This is not a new idea. And at some point it became like composers were figuring out different ways to write down music, and some nerd found out, hey, what if you had a melody that changes where it is in the rhythm, and what if they are ratios of each other? And so it'll create this complex thing, but it's not going to be like impossible to play, and it'll actually sound pretty cool if it all lines up later. And so back in undergrad, I wrote a little research paper about stuff about this, and I just thought I would dive into how some music theorists have noticed these patterns. So here's some really old music. I don't remember exactly when this music was written, and I didn't do a good job of like writing down. I mean, it's somewhere. I don't have the year of like when this stuff was actually, or maybe it's somewhere on here and I'm just not finding it. But anyway, we can check out these cool examples where this is not how they wrote the music back in the day. They didn't even have like the idea of small measures. They kind of had like this idea of really big measures, because I guess this is like back in Gregorian chant days. They would basically take a melody that people liked and then really stretch it out, so they would have the low voices sing that part. So this is probably some melody like, I don't even know, like Jesus, Amen, praise God, whatever. And they'll just sing this melody that the monks were chanting because it just lined up with the words. And then they'll slow it way, way down, and then they'll come up with all these like little things to go on top, and it makes it sound kind of cool. So this is what they did in this music. And the nerdy thing that they realized is you could kind of group things in different, basically time signatures all at the same time. So this voice up here is in 6/8, which is kind of like, it's basically like 2 beats per measure, 6/8. It's just a weird way to write it. Just think of it as, well, it's not, well, it's 6/8 notes per measure is what that's trying to say. So that's, okay, let's just use it at face value. There's 6 beats per measure here. And then what if you had 9 beats per measure and just a couple of 9 beat per measure measures is the same amount of time as 3 6 beat per measures, because 3 times 6 is a number, 18. 9 times 2 is a number, which is also 18. Hey, that's the same amount of time. So this is back, like I was saying, this is something like, I don't want to get totally the wrong years, but it's like 15th, 16th century, maybe even 14th century. 13, this is like 1300s, maybe that early. People are writing down these Gregorian chants, and well, a very small specific number of people, but it was just kind of neat. And they had this idea of, I think the paper, the material that I read, and I don't know if this is a common words or whatever, but the color of music is kind of like the melody of it. And then the talia, I think, is sort of the rhythmic structure of it. So going back to the way I was initially looking at this, the talia of the bass line is, 3 notes, 2 notes, and then 3 notes, and just keep that pattern. And then the key to understanding this fucking made up bullshit is that the color, it follows the talia, but it's 4 notes long. It's 4 chord changes long, I should say, because the rhythm of the melody doesn't. Let me say it this way: the melody is F, C, G, D. But here it starts on beat 4. But hopefully you can see how it's still, despite the fact that this rhythm is different than this rhythm, the melody is still F, C, G, D. And then over here, all right, let's scoot it over. F, C, G, D. So you basically just play the melody F, C, G, D 3 times against a rhythm that you're going to play 4 times. And then it ends up lining back up on beat, or after the 8th bar. And so you just do this a couple times. No big deal. Just keep playing that riff until it sounds really good. And I think somebody at the last Discord meeting was like, yeah, you basically have to memorize it. I think at first, sure, you kind of do. And then after a while, you maybe like your brain will think in one dimension here. Oop. Hi, Nora. Thanks for clicking on that note. She just wants more pets. Oh, she's changing the music. Sometimes when I have like weird little things in my documents, this is basically the reason why. Like what happened here? Like, I'll have to go to undo. Whatever. Okay, it's back to normal. Maybe. But yeah, that's kind of the music theory nerdness behind this. And so I totally get it. Like, here's the note F. It's on beat 4 of the 3rd measure. And Mark is playing these hits when I have this going on. I can totally see why this would be confusing. So the next level of confusion is the guitar part, which plays off of the bass. So the chord changes here it's like off the beat, and then here we land on the beat. I totally get it. It's confusing. But my idea here was the bass is kind of playing 3, 2, 3, and then the rhythm guitar is playing this is kind of like 3, 3, and then rest for 2. But on beat 3 of the second 3 is when the chord changes, because that's when the chord changes. Man, that's fucked. But let's hear these two together. Let me play that again, because it was kind of glitchy. Let me play with the drums, too. Okay, I'll stop it there. So yeah, it is kind of supposed to be kind of trippy. It's like you're a little bit lost, but there's also something that's tying it all together, which is that chord pattern and rhythmic pattern. So other observations here. When I was playing this, it is a little challenging to play this, but it's not impossible. I was kind of thinking like there's sort of like this melody going on top of these chords, like boop-ba-da-ba-dup, ba-da-ba-dup. So maybe you could think like boop-ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-dup. Like this is like bugga falling to a lower note. But it's confusing because the pattern changes on the next time that rhythm happens. So, ba-da-ba-dum, ba-da-ba-dum, it goes up there. Ba-da-ba-dum, ba-da-ba-dum, goes up again. Or maybe this could go down if you had like a drop C guitar. Ba-da-ba-dum, dum-ga-da-dum, goes real low there, back to D at the end. So I don't know if that's helpful at all. Sometimes that helps me to think of like a melody that doesn't exist, but it keeps my brain in check. Like play this note, or like play this chord same, then go down. I don't know. Play this note same, and then go down. Play this note same, and then go up. Play this note same, and then go up. Play this note same, and then go down. Play this note same, and then go down. Play this note same, and then go up. Play this note same, and then go up. But, oh shit, I'm not singing the right rhythm. Am I? No, I'm not. So I'm making it worse. Okay, start over. Let me sing along with it. How about that? Okay. Play this note same, play this note down. Play this note same, and then go up. Play this note same, and then go up. Play this note same, and then go down. Play this note same, and then go down. Play this note same, and then go up. Play this note same, and then go up. Play this note same, and then go down. So it's like down, up, up, down. I don't know. This is probably just making shit more confusing, but you can just come up with your own thing that works for you. That's probably the best thing. I thought maybe this would be a good demonstration of here's one weird person's brain trying to figure out the shit. And I don't even really remember how I came up with this, because I came up with this back in 2020. Things got complicated, you know, your brain's not working too good. But sometimes shit just falls out of it. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, and this just the melody on top just kind of lined up. It's like granted, I did just show you, here's a research paper I did in undergrad, but that was a pretty, that was pretty intense class. So that there was really intense professors with that. So they expected high quality work and all that shit. So yeah, this stuff did, I guess, just kind of seep into my brain, and I was kind of, eventually letting it come out. But what I was trying to just point out just now is this interesting interaction between the melody that I just kind of naturally just goofing around on guitar, F sharp against a D. That's a pretty cool D major chord right there. And then this sustains, remains as an F sharp while we segue back into F world. Ooh, that's weird. So I got F here. But then it resolves. Well, it still sounds a little dissonant, and then it resolves a little bit more. Well, it still sounds a little shitty, but but then by the time you get here, it's like, oh, it's fine, man. No big deal. Boom. Beautiful music. It's weird. Was there anything else I wanted to mention here? I think what Mark's playing is fine as long as what we all play, as long as we all kind of get a feel for what this is, and if we want to change it, because the melody that's being played here kind of implies a simpler chord progression of, we're playing something rather complex, but it could be as simple as like, you just stay on F and then E minor, or just F, G, but I don't even know. We'll figure it out. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the song Through, and I meant to have this prepped, so give me a second here. I'm gonna go find the sheet music for it. Okay. Luckily, I think it's in the same area. Oh, wow, I did clean this up. That's nice. Good job, self. Oh, it's just a text file? I thought maybe I had a score or something. Show in Finder. Okay, well, let's go take a look at the text file for Through. I might have put something in here about this. Nope, this is just lyrics, I think. Okay, never mind. Shit, I thought I had something for this. Maybe it's in, this? No? Archives? It was a Drown song. Where is it? Old charts. Through. Oh. Sibelius. I could try it. Why not? Fuck it. I still have the same copy of Sibelius. This is like from 2008 or 2009 or something like that. I've just never updated it. It was different back then. Software was different. It wasn't like, it was in this weird in-between world of like, oh, you still buy software on a CD-ROM, put it into your computer, you have that software, and you never need to update it ever again. We're gonna keep updating it once in a while, but no guarantees. Let's see. I got too much shit open. Normally I'm a web browser tab guy, but whenever I do this like screen record, I work with a lot of apps too, so I feel like I'm either web browser tab guy or maybe like 20 apps open. No, I almost never have more than like an app and then maybe like my email open. But this is just, I'm recording video. I forgot that OBS doesn't work with my audio hardware, which is kind of why I kind of want to get some like new hardware, just so I can use OBS. I gotta do this stupid thing where I build a headphone mix, which then feeds into Logic, and then I threw some processing on real fast, and then that feeds over a loop back to a thing that OBS. Hey, it's loading. Oh, look at that. Sibelius 7. I was like, well, I'm stuck with this version now. That was when they were Avid, so I have no clue. I think it's because I lost all of my information about Sibelius, and I was just like, shit. And it wasn't, even though it was Avid and I had a Pro Tools thing at that time, they didn't you couldn't. Well, Pro Tools was and still is copy protected by the iLock system. So that's why nobody just uses Pro Tools unless you have to. Or you're an audio, an actual recording studio. But I don't know where I was going with this. But yeah, Sibelius, I just didn't really care. I was like, it works. I don't need to update it. And a lot of the advice that I would get was don't update your software. It's just going to break everything. Don't. If you have a system, don't update the operating system. Don't update your web browser. Don't update this and this and this. Just keep it on, the same version you had 2 years ago. And this was 2009, 2010. Just people. It's because once you get a system working, you really want that system to work. So, but look at this nonsense, Sibelius. This has got to be. I don't know how this is still working, but it's got to be working through emulation or something like that. So here we are with the song Through, and here's a time signature change. Awesome. This is what I'm talking about. Ooh, I even have different synth parts, or maybe those are in the. I could probably export that as MIDI or something. But yeah, this drum notation always looks stupid, because you're supposed to do it in a special type of drum notation, but if you're working in MIDI, it's literally just I don't even know if this is gonna make sound. I didn't hear anything. Boop. Make a boop sound? Nope. Okay. No audio necessary. But yeah, what we got going on here is... this is probably the simplest rhythm going on here. Bass, guitars. Sorry, no tab. Sibelius did tab, but it was everything about Sibelius was just a pain in the ass. It's a ribbon-based system, if you know what I'm talking about, Word, Microsoft Word, and Excel and shit like that. The ribbon. And so they were trying to work to a specific crowd of folks who didn't know how computers work, and just everything was done the hard way back then. Still is in a lot of ways today. I don't know. Where am I going with all this? This song that Aquawizard is probably going to work on soon, called Through. Wrote it a long time ago. It has 2, 3, 4 bars in here, and Mark and I were talking on Discord about different ideas, and I was just like, yeah, maybe we could do a halftime thing, and if it's a couple of 3, 4 bars, you could try putting the beat on beat 2 and 4, and just kind of don't play the waltz beat, I think is what I was trying to say. So the waltz beat being normally in rock music, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, something like that. And then if you're in a 3-3, or we were talking about 3-3 bars, and I just said 3-3. If you're in a 3-4 bar, the traditional pattern there is 3-4 is waltz music, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And maybe you play kick, snare, snare, kick, snare, snare. But that really sounds too much like polka music. Like, I don't know. If the total beat here was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that just might seem a little boop, 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 boop. So another thing you can do with a 3/4 bars is you can just keep playing 1 2 1 2 1 2, but just do it and just the same way I was talking about earlier. If you're paying attention to my lecture, my rants, the crazy guy rants, 1 2 3 over 1 2, you know, all that shit. You know, you can play 2 over 3. That's basically what I'm saying. It's not really a new concept, but 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4. And then the idea of like playing halftime. So I was thinking about this, and maybe it could be something like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Wait. So like halftime would be like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1. Like maybe like kick and snare and kick. So like I don't know where halftime would start exactly, but maybe it would start here at the beginning of this with the. So maybe like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. Wait. So the basically kind of zoom out. Maybe it'd be like boom here on beat 1, clack on beat 3, and then try to apply that here. Boom on beat 1, clack on beat 3. Oop, friggin' Sibelius, man, what the hell's going on? Boom on boom on beat 1, clack on beat 3. Now, what if this, instead of being 2 bars of 3 4, what if it was 4 plus 2? So it'd be 1 2 3 4, and then 1 2, and then 2 4 4 after that. So you could do boom on 1 here, clack on this 3. This is beat 4 in my rebarred imaginary scenario. Then if you're sticking with a halftime, you'd probably only have time for just 1 boom. Maybe you'd want to go boom, clack, boom, but then maybe that would throw things off. So maybe you would go boom, and then go right back into boom, clack. Or we could go to double time, or normal time, or fuck, I don't know. But yeah, we'll start here. So maybe it could be boom, and clack, and boom, and clack. Boom, and boom, and clack, and boom. So there'd be 2 booms. Boom, and clack. So boom, clack, and boom, clack. Boom, boom, clack. Boom, boom. 1 2 3 1. It's just 2 over 3. 3 over 2. Nora knows what I'm talking about, right? So that's what I was trying to get at with both of those things. It's probably not helpful what I'm doing. Maybe I'll just like slap together some more demos. But yeah, this stuff is fun in my brain. I hope it's fun to think about, at least the possibilities, even if like all the jargon and stuff that I'm talking about is just jargon. At the very least, maybe it's just fuel for creativity, and just what I always think. The reason I think I'm so interested in music theory is that I've had a lot of conversations with people about how they really hate music theory and that it stifles creativity, and I get that, because I think a lot of the details of music theory are very tedious. Like it does really bring you down. Like trying to work with Sibelius to get this shit put together, like, tedious, you know. There's only certain types of brains that would want to deal with shit like this, or, you know, make it worth it. So I totally get it. Music theory is not the most fun thing ever, but once you kind of it's sort of like learning a musical instrument, or, you know, learning how to drive a car. Once you get over that hump of like learning and you're like, oh, okay, I can see why, oh, okay, there's only 12 notes, or there's the reason why we do rhythms this way. Like, it keeps groups together, it makes it easier to play with other musicians and stuff like that. I don't know, it's a slow process that eventually all comes together, I think. Or maybe it doesn't, and you just try to figure out your own kind of way of doing things. I guess what I was really all trying to get at here was, sometimes in music theory, you kind of find little nuggets of stuff that sounds cool, and you're like, I don't really know why that sounds cool, but I'm just going to do it anyway. And if there's something that you can hang on to, that actually makes it practical to play. So you know, that's what I'm really trying to figure out here, is like, what is the most comfortable thing to play that allows this sort of thing. And I tried to build the lyrics around that, the way that I sing those, and just kind of letting this stuff stay. Like, I think I improvised this or something like that. I don't really remember how I put it together, but it's just, it is what it is, I guess. And if we can figure out a cool way to get it all to lock together, that's kind of the hope and stuff. But it's also something that the reason I don't use Sibelius anymore is because, I don't know, it's not very flexible, and I don't really like wasting my, oh my god, look at all the apps I have open. I don't like wasting my time with stuff that doesn't let me build on it later or change things up. So if we want to change this and we're like, actually keeping a groove here would be better, or if we tried this instead, I am also totally open to stuff like that. So I don't want this to discourage, like, just because this idea locks in one way, it just happens to lock in that way, and I don't want that to discourage other ways that we could be exploring the musical space. So, all right, that's enough of coffee and cigarettes. Next time, more coffee. Still, there will be no cigarettes from my end next time. I can't speak for Nora, but anyway, I hope you found this at least something that you can use to waste your time, and yeah, have a good one.